Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy the Game Master and welcome to my channel. Well guys, I'm going to do a rant review on Star Wars The Last Jedi. I just saw it tonight. I wanted to see it tonight because I've seen a whole bunch of YouTube postings. Tried to avoid them because most of them ones that are really cranky about this movie. Immediately tried to spoil the plot, and I took great pleasure when they hit me with a few plot spoilers right off the bat. They didn't ruin the movie, but they tried to hit me with all these plot spoilers right off the bat without even framing it, just hit people. So I took great pleasure in refreshing the page a few dozen times on their videos just to sink them in the algorithm a little bit. If you want to know, thumbs downing and commenting will not lower a video's views in the algorithm. Rather, it has to do with audience retention. That's how YouTube usually promotes for their videos. If someone has a lot of views with a lot of audience retention, that's going to be featured. If you have a lot of views but no audience retention, it's considered clickbait by the algorithms and usually shrunk by my understanding. So I took great pleasure. But anyways, when I look at some of the negative critiques after watching this, I can definitely say a lot of the people who are pissed off, I think, hit social media, read a lot of theories, made a lot of theories of their own, had their own expectations going into this movie. And when you do that, when you get overhyped on something, that you start making your own story, making your own thing different from the actual product being made, you're going to be disappointed because it never lives up to the product that you've made in your mind. It never lives up to the movie that you've created in your mind. I kind of enjoyed this movie, though. Alright, I will get into spoilers, though, but not right away. I'll try to warn people. Okay, I should say the movie has two stories, which is typical for a Star Wars movie. There's usually an A and a B story. The A story is, of course, Rey being trained by Luke Skywalker and trying to learn from him, and he's not who she expects. You know, you think of Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi, the guy who, you know, kind of went to the Empire ship, confronted his father, saw the good in him, threw away his lightsaber, was willing to be killed. You're expecting this heroic guy. What we have is very much a shell of that. Someone who has been really defeated by life. He's not in that hidey hole because he's looking for something, or he's training, or he's just waiting for the right time. He's in that hidey hole because he wants the whole world to go away. He doesn't really care. He's living the life of a hermit, and he plans on staying that way. And Rey's got to break him out of the shell, teach her a few things. And their relationship by the end of the movie was really solid. I enjoyed that. Can't wait to talk about some of the plot spoilers. The B part wasn't as interesting. It still had its moments. Basically, the rebels are trying to escape from Snoke, who keeps on pounding them, and it looks like they're going to be destroyed unless Flynn can find this hacker to hack into his ship and find a way to basically disable it so the rebels can get away, is the big plan of action. A little plot spoiler, but you can probably see it coming. Yes, the hacker's the Lando Calrissian character, and he's nowhere near as good as Lando. Okay, I won't go into it far any more than that. But I thought the effects were beautiful. I thought the characters were really good for the most part. The only bad thing I can say about the movie, by and large, is that the last 20 minutes or so could have been cut off. I don't know why they couldn't just finish their huge confrontation on space in these spaceships and have everything take place there and then cut to the credits. Instead, they're dragged into this old abandoned rebel base that is from when they were fighting the original Empire, and they've got to hold their base because the new order is now attacking them, and Kylo is about to completely defeat them. And it just seemed like this is dragging, this wasn't needed. Some of the things that happened during the end of those sequences and the end of the movie are really good, but that whole scene, it's like you could have cut that setting completely out, just have it take aboard the ships that they were in and cut to the credits. You didn't need to go down to this new planet. That's about the only bad thing I can say. I thought it was perfectly paced, and I thought it did some good plot spoilers and threw in some interesting twists. Okay, we're getting into plot spoiler territory now. If you want to see this movie and haven't and don't want me to talk about anything that might spoil your experience, please click off now. Alright, let's talk about plot spoilers. When I say that Luke Skywalker is not the same character you remember from Return of the Jedi, I mean it. Remember how in The Force Awakens at the end of the movie, she goes up to him, she has the lightsaber, and it's like, hope is sprung anew, he's found a new person to teach, she can rekindle some fire. That's how it's kind of set up. How does this movie open when we kind of see the rest of that scene? He takes the lightsaber, looks at it, and then just tosses it like, eh. Then runs into his house and tells her to get lost. Yeah, that's kind of an amusing scene, but it sets up Luke perfectly. And then, if you're wondering, what exactly happened to him, that's explained throughout the movie, as well as we find out exactly how he became this bitter old man and his true feelings towards what the Jedi are kind of exposed here. First, if you want to know exactly what the deal is with him and Kylo Ren and his true thoughts on it are, ironically, they set Luke Skywalker up in this to be kind of similar to a Kingdom Hearts character called Master Eriquis, which is ironic because I have made a video comparing Star Wars characters, and one of the things I said is that Disney bought LucasArts out just to stop the cease and desist letters coming from Birth by Sleep and that character, and particularly because he does look like a Jedi. He is voiced by Mark Hamill as well. And we see him kind of make the same mistake, trying to save the world from the dark side by doing things he knows that he should be against, just out of fear, rather than trying to confront it in any reasonable way. He sees this great shadow in Kylo, so he originally tried to kill him, and then he had second thoughts before he struck, but Kylo woke up. He tried to kill him in his sleep, thought that he was about to be assassinated, and turned to the dark side completely. So that's what we get from there. But I thought that was an interesting take on the character. And he sees the Jedi Order of the past as needing to go away because the Jedi Order of the past was arrogant. They helped create Darth Vader. They helped Lord Sidious rise because they were arrogant and foolish. And that's a great way to describe the Jedi from the prequels too, by the way. I poked fun of the main problem with Revenge of the Sith. That whole problem could have been solved if common sense was applied. You don't put the young Jedi in training that's having problems, and you have problems keeping him in line, and he's emotionally unstable, next to the politician who is very manipulative and might be the Sith Lord you're after, while taking away his only real means of support by sending him to another planet to chase after Grievous. It's like, yeah, you did all of these things, and then you're surprised when he raids your temple and kills all your people? Duh! But, he goes through that again and says, I'm ready for them to end because I don't think they're really good for the galaxy. There's a great scene with him and Yoda kind of discussing this too. that I thought was great. Seeing Yoda back again and them having a discussion about the old Jedi teachings and the old Jedi ways and what should be done. And Yoda's thoughts on it are kind of surprising, um, and a little funny what he does. So I enjoyed that. As far as some of the other spoilers that people are wondering about if they are breached here, yeah, but don't expect them to be meaningful. A lot of people have theorized who is Snoke. We never really get to know, which is kind of disappointing. Where does he come in? Who is he? I mean, there are people who say, science points him to be even one of the Star Wars Rebels protagonists, which could be interesting if he was, because they kind of look alike, and he has a Kylo Ren's lightsaber, found a lightsaber like that in one of the episodes. It would be very interesting to see if that was something that happened, but he doesn't matter, because here's one of the things why I like this movie is it has balls to do things differently. You don't expect an epic confrontation between Kylo Ren, Rey, and Snoke until movie 3, and have any resolve from it, because that's how it's usually done. I mean, Return of the Jedi was when we saw Luke redeem Vader and the Empire get killed. In this one, we have scenes that are set up very similar to the Return of the Jedi. However, Kylo Ren takes the opportunity to kill Snoke, and then rather than taking Rey's offer of redemption, decides to do the Sith thing and kind of take command, and leaving her to kind of have to run away and come up with her new plans. And I enjoyed that. As far as Rey's parentage, in case you're wondering, yeah, this one was a little surprising, but it wasn't so far away that it ruined it for me. Okay, what's Rey's lineage? She really doesn't have one. Her parents were basically a bunch of nobodies, a bunch of deadbeats who just dropped her on that planet and took off. Okay? They weren't anybody worth noting. And a lot of people are like, oh, no, she has to be a Skywalker. Yeah, well, we kind of thought about that, but think about it for a moment. Anakin Skywalker started off kind of working in a junk shop. That's where we originally found him. So the fact that Rey's from nobody and can raise to greatness is, I think, actually a great thing. I enjoyed that kind of screwing with the audience and not having it be exactly what we thought. And like I said, Kylo Ren takes over. Now for the big one, and I was a little surprised they did this. The way they did it is kind of anticlimactic. But if you're going to kill off a popular character that's been in Star Wars for years, the face of Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, you think it would be in an epic battle with Kylo Ren? And it kinda is, and it kinda isn't. You see him go to the rebel base when they're surrounded and confront Kylo, and there's a really humorous scene where, Kylo kind of gets the whole new order to fire upon Luke, and Luke, kind of just brushes it off. Sorry. And that was a really funny scene. But when it's all said and done, we find out that Luke was just basically using the Force to cast an illusion on himself. And if you look, you see there are two versions of Luke Skywalker. One that's kind of this drunken, disheveled old man who, a hermit, hasn't left his island in several years, isn't going to, so, his hair's always messed up, his beard's, gray and never kempt. And then there's the one that's seen in some of the Kylo Ren flashbacks, and the one that we see confront Kylo Ren, his beard is all trimmed, so something is going in, and it's colored. I mean, he used Just for Men for Jedi. I guess because his hair is back to being brown, and he looks a few years younger when he confronts it. But we find out that's just the Force Ghost. However, because Luke uses the Force Ghost rather than going to confront Kylo Ren himself, he manages to disappear afterwards, which makes no goddamn sense to me. What? Yeah, that's an anticlimax. I mean, we see Kylo run him through with the lightsaber, and Luke just kind of mocks him when they finally realize what's going on. But if you're going to kill a character, why not have it in that direct confrontation? That kind of makes no sense, especially since Luke was originally there to sacrifice himself anyways, to buy time, to kind of distract Kylo. So that didn't make sense. That was one that didn't. I'm interested to see what they were going to do in the future. Granted, I guess the original script that in episode 9, Leia was going to kind of complete Rey's tutelage, not necessarily in the Force, but just growing up to be an adult, to be responsible for oneself. And with the death of Carrie Fisher, it's kind of interesting to see what they're going to write in next. I guess worst comes to worst, they can always use a Force ghost of Obi-Wan Kenobi or Yoda to make a return to do the training, or have her talk to get some more of the stuff that's unresolved. But I am interested in episode 9. Like I said, the only bad thing I can say is make sure you empty your mind to any Reddit threads or any YouTube videos discussing about who's this is and who's that going to be. Empty your minds. It's not going to happen the way you think. Go to the movie theater and enjoy yourself. This is Tommy the Game Master thanking you for watching. I'll see you guys later.